one of the tenets of Islam, by the way, which is the fast. Now, many educationists, parents, caregivers, guardians, Nigerians, by the way, have been wondering why that. This is a religious belief, and not everybody in those states, practice that faith. Actually, so, and a state, or should, because they've done it, till a state now use that yardstick to close down a school or go on break because of fasting, 30 days, and the academic term has been disrupted because of that. Now, when they come back, I'm trying to see that document, at least from Bauchi State, if we can have it put up. It says they are to proceed on 1st of March and come back maybe in the early part of May, and then by sometime, early part of April, and sometime in April, they will now go on break. This is what has been making many persons, I think I have that right now, at least with what the Ministry of Education, Bauchi State, have said, and they are to go on this holiday 1st of March. They have gone already, 2025, and resume on 5th of April. That's more than 30 days, by the way, like 34, 35 days. And then they are to resume, by the way, the holiday will end on 5th of April. They are to resume the continuation of the second term by 6th of April. They will now proceed on the break by 26th of April. 3 weeks. The break is 5 weeks. The previous term that began in 5th of February, this time to April, that's 5th of January to 1st of March, 8 weeks. And then continuation of second term will be for 3 weeks. So 8 plus 5, that is 13 plus another 3, 16 weeks. And out of the 16 weeks, 5 are being used for break. Remaining, how many now? 11. And these are part of what we are seeing right now. Now, the Christian Association of Nigeria has responded to this matter to say, you can practice your faith, that's fine. But it is unfair for Christian students, pupils that are Christians, that they are not fasting, they are not bound by these religious tenets, and all of them are being made to go back to their houses because their Muslim and Christian colleagues, Muslim colleagues are fasting. What does this do to us? Now, the southern part of the country are not going on any break. They are continuing with their education. Even in Saudi Arabia, to speak about, to just make an example of an Islamic country, so to speak, entirely, absolutely Islamic country, they are not going on break. They are continuing. Possibly what they will have is a modulated time of working and schooling, at least to suit the fasting that is ongoing. But in Nigeria, 4 of the states have said, guys, go home, we're on break. So we looked at it from different angles. What does this do to us? Will these students not be playing catch-up to their colleagues of different parts of the country? Now, what is the educational trajectory of this state? When you talk about O-level exams and common entrance exams, are they found in the first 3, first 5, first 10, first 15? And these are the states that have gone on break. When they come back, what will that do to them? Are there provisions, made for those students and pupils to catch up? Because when many of them come back, they'll be preparing, especially the ones in secondary school, senior classes, for their UTME exams. They'll be preparing for their WAEC and NECO exams, and in which they are being home, on break, not being taught, except the ones that the parents and the caregivers will help to read. The reading that they can't read in school, will they read it at home? The study that they can't do in school, rather, will they not do it at home? This is what is up. Now, we have beliefs, we have culture, we have religion, we have education. How do we get a balance? And can you really say this is a good policy, or is a policy that has been formed by bias of religion? And let me make this expressive. This is not really a religious talk. It's a developmental talk. And having heart-to-heart talk on how to do better. If you are going to go on this route, are there provisions made for the students and pupils, to get whatever they have lost in the times in which they're on break? It's not a sessional break. It's not even a term break. It's a break in between the terms. 16 weeks in a term, 5 of them on break because of Ramadan fast. I have to sit down in this same studio with some critical stakeholders, and they laid and bared their mind, on these developments, and allow you to take a look, because education should never, be joked with. And we don't do that here at Western Spring Television, where we see it as it is. I'll see you at the other end. Take a look.
Thank you for staying with us. And the conversation this morning is about a very important aspect of human life. Every society, nations of the world, country doesn't joke with education. It's the bedrock of development. And that is why we're talking about it this morning, especially as it concerns the young ones who have been touted to be the leaders of tomorrow. And so, as we have seen recently, the decision by some state governments, especially in the northern part of the country, to close down, the schools, or better still, to have holiday in between the term, because of the Ramadan fast. In the state, we have Kano, we have Bauchi, we have Kirby. I think 4 states of the federation have gone that route. At least with what we have from Bauchi state, they have their school calendar to be that 8th of September, was the resumption, and the closing. That's the first term, 13th of December. And now holiday between 16th and of December till January 5th. And then the second term started 5th of January of this year to 26th of February 2025. And there is holiday from the 1st of March to the 5th of April, And then the continuation of the term will be from 6th of April 2025 to this 26th of April, the term we terminate. And then many persons are wondering why, the Ramadan fast, just like any other religious fast, is one that is adhered to the tenets of the religion of Islam. Fine, granted, we'll have the right of expression, right of association, right to worship, and all of those things are sacrosanct in our laws. But when these religious beliefs and tenets appear to be disrupting education, many persons will raise eyebrows to say, why can't these go on? And then you find a way, or the way of accommodating people. Now, so many persons and groups have been reacting to this, and one of them is the Christian Association of Nigeria, that says it appears unfair for those that are not Muslims, who have been affected by the closing down of schools in between the session, in between the term, because of these religious tenets going on right now. I have with me in the studio today stakeholders in this particular conversation, and of course, to my immediate right, I have Mrs. Oyinkanmi Godwin. She is an educationist, active one. Good morning.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you again. By the way. And of course, I have Sheikh Dr. Ibiyemi As-Sunusi. He is the Executive Secretary of East Islamic Development Initiatives. He's here with us in the studios. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Now, let me start. There's a ladies first. So, let me start from you. What's your impression of those developments of, the holiday in between the term like 32 days. It's in Bauchi State. It's on 1st of March to the 5th of March. That 1st of March to the 5th of April, I guess, more like 34 days or thereabout. In between the session, in between the time, it has been provided for by the state. But then many persons are wondering, this is education. Your impression?
Well, spiritual observances are a vital part of our spiritual life as a people. We are very religious and we hold our religions in high esteem. However, the impact of this policy on education will raise very serious concerns because there will definitely be learning gaps when children have unplanned breaks, and I emphasize unplanned breaks. Now, I've been told that, or rather my research, my findings, free up the fact that this is not the first time. Some of the states have been doing the same. And it will be interesting to juxtapose their decisions with their performances in certain educational evaluation parameters such as WAEC or NECO. Let's see their results. Do they have a plan? Since they've been doing this for a while, what backup plan, what remedial action was taken to ensure that the children did not suffer from the consequences of this kind of decision? What did they do to mitigate the learning gaps that would naturally occur? Yeah. So I believe it raises very serious concerns. And unfortunately, states have the autonomy to decide what they do with their school calendars. The Federal Ministry of Education does not really have too much of a say to say, oh, you can't do that. But I believe that stakeholder engagement would improve the way we make decisions, sensitive decisions like this that affect children far and wide. A state like Kebbi, Bauchi, has a third of the population that are non-Muslims. Okay, this is not a religious issue. The Christians are also starting their Lenten fast today, 40 days. You can say, okay, because of the 40 days fast, children go on holiday. They understand, we must understand that when we make such policy decisions, it will affect the quality of learners that we produce. Let me stop.
All right. We will stretch it further. Dr. BME, what's your impression of these policies? Ms. Omibo said now that spiritual beliefs and practices are sacrosanct. It's normal. It's constitutional. But how we do these things, especially when it leaves the private, practice and it becomes a policy statement, and we're talking about education here. What's the impression of these developments? Kano, Bauchi, Kebbi, and I think I see that. I'm not sure on that, but that's what we are seeing right now.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I love one of the points raised by our educationists here.
Yes.
The issue of backup plan. So we need to be very much concerned about that.
Right.
I agree with her. So if you want to do something, and you should look at all the consequences before you start doing. And that takes me to our system of governance, the unitary approach. So if the state knows that this is what I'm going to lose, I think they will think much more better before they go into that. So, and again, we look at it from this angle again, that look, if you are saying these people should come to school, what's their response? Only the Ramadan. Maybe it could have been part of what the state government looks into. Because you look at average northerner, they are not as strong as we are when it comes to fasting. Look at our brothers selling hockey in the streets. By 1 o'clock, we will not see anybody again. The northerners, they fear fasting than anything. So they will just find them in the mosque, to go and sleep there by 1 o'clock, while the Western Muslims will still be roaming around. And we could understand that, look, they lost eating all the time. Like Yoruba, average Yoruba man will tell you that, so when you eat in the morning, you have to wait till afternoon before you eat anything. So the same thing goes to the night. We anchor on 3 square meals, but they always love varieties of foods. I think that's affected them a little bit. So I think maybe the state government could have looked at it that, look, if we are saying that these people should come during the Ramadan, you will hardly find many of them in the school. It could have been one of the reasons why they give that order. But by and large, we have to be, like Madam said, we have to be very sensitive when it comes to the issue of religion. There was a time we have Isheshi, and most of us did not buy into it. But because government think that, oh, this is what I think it will be good for the traditionalists, and they bring it up, and we all came to it. So we have to be very careful. But as we are streamlining ourselves into the educational angle,
Yes.
let's see how we can assist the government over there to make sure that they get the best result like other states.
All right. Staying with you, Mrs. Omigo raised the issue of backup plan. We are going to do on this policy. You raised the issue of, are they aware of what they stand to lose and the backup plan for it as well? Now, when you check some of these states, you won't find them for a long time. You might not find them in the first step when you talk about NECO or YA. So it means they are backward educationally. And this is not us, me, casting aspersion on them. That's the reality of what it is. That was the time exam for our state that less than 50 pupils registered for what's it called now? The primary school living certificate exam. The one they call common entrance there. So that is the kind of education. Now we have at last count more than 20 million out of school children. Now we don't know if it has improved. It doesn't look like that because the security situation will not even make us to record a significant improvement in that place. The issue of poverty is another one. Now, for this stage, you raise a very valid point by saying the northerners' approach to fasting is not the same thing as the southerner approach to things there. If you're a teacher, you still go to work. If you're a barber, you still open your shop, although you know how to handle yourself so that you don't expend too much energy and some of those things. But there, at the noon time, almost everything is a shutdown. Now, but can we continue to hide, pardon my words, under these while the rest of the country is moving ahead? The rest of the world is moving ahead. How do we balance it? But first of all, let me ask you, will you say it's a wrong call at this stage to have this destruction, 34 and 5 days of break because of the fact?
Thank you very much. The point here is that
is it a good call?
No, like I said, each state has their own challenges, and they are the one because they are the one who wears the shoes. And an NGO like us, at least Islamic Development Initiative, that's what we are working on. The issue of Almangiri initially is the migrants. So, and we have some of the parents in the north just leave their children to their far as migrants. The era of migrants has passed. When Muhammad moved from Mecca to Medina. So why are you moving your children that are supposed to benefit from you, supposed to be cuddling by you? Why are you leaving them to one malam who has like 100 or 100 that will give them the place to go and beg and to go and find for what to eat at that age? We are trying to sensitize them that this is children abuse. And you have to stop it. In fact, during the time of prophet, the children were not involved. It's the elders that go for knowledge and they find what to eat before they come back. So the system have changed. We have to, I think Nkrumah or some of our leaders says that if you want to change people, you have to move to them, eat with them, dine with them, so that they will understand you. But if you start criticizing them, they will keep doing the same thing. So the issue of Ramadan here is very sensitive in Islam. Many Muslims are not praying 5 daily prayer. Many Muslims could not afford to go to Hajj. Many Muslims are not paying zakat because they are not zakatable. What I mean by zakatable is that
what does that mean?
They are not due for zakat. They don't have money to pay, so they can collect. But the fasting, when it comes to the fasting, the Indian smoker Muslim will stop smoking during the month of Ramadan. The drunkard will stop drinking during the Ramadan. So everybody comes together. It's something that unites all the Muslims. But what we are saying here is that it has to do with the priority. When the Southern have been producing doctors in almost every state and professions, There's some certain states in the north there, I could remember, the first medical doctor, in fact, they start eulogizing. We are not running any state down, but it has to do with their poverty. So in Islam, still now, they can't much on Islamic knowledge. And it's paying them, it depends. But the little among them that read education, they place them higher. So they did not still place more emphasis on the Western education. That's why the Boko Haram will thrive over there. Because the word Boko is Arab, book is Arab. Despite the fact that the man is talking, is a graduate. But he's telling you that the book is unlawful. And they all buy into it.
And that's a deceit.
And that's the deceit. No, religion is the best vehicle, many a times, to convey the highest corruption. Because you will speak to their mind and they will lose their head. So it happens everywhere in the world. So we need to look at this issue. It depends on the governor. The issue of Sharia the other day it comes is political Sharia. It's not real Islamic Sharia. And we keep saying it, that this is political Sharia.
How do you mean?
No, I as a Muslim now, I wake up in the morning, I be guided by Sharia. So I'm using Sharia already. So why are you shouting Sharia? When I want to marry my wife, I marry my wife through Sharia. I'm operating my house through Sharia. So the Sharia should emanate from individual. If I know that I can't go to somebody's wife, my religion forbids it. That's Sharia. So I don't need to be stoned. I don't take somebody's thing. That's Sharia. The Ten Commandments is Sharia.
All right. I'll come back to you. Because now, Christian Association of Nigeria is a body that sees to the welfare, well-being, and of course, of its members, in this case, the Christians. And they have reacted to that to say, while they agree that everybody has a right to follow whatever they want to follow, practice their religion in the best way possible, but it is unfair, for the Christian students or pupils in that place to be affected. Of course, they will be affected. The break is ongoing as we speak, and that means they will be at home doing nothing or engaged in other means now. But some are having issues with that position. I know you don't speak for hand, but then some are having issues with that position to say, oh, why are you colorizing these with religion? But they will say, we have students and pupils who are Christians. They are being affected by this policy. Do you see the intervention or this awareness being raised, concern rather, being raised by Khan as colorizing the development?
Well, it's a state pronouncement. And as law-abiding citizens, we must follow the directives that the state has given. That is important. You cannot say, oh, we are calm, and therefore we're not going to. No. What we should do rather is to have what we call a stakeholder engagement. Request to explain your position and request for maybe provisions for you to be able to cater to your own people. I feel it is quite discriminatory to say everybody, regardless of your religion, you must follow this. I feel it is discriminatory, but the answer is not in defying what the state has said. The answer is in stakeholder engagement. Come to the table, discuss the matters, and come up with solutions. So that is what I would say. And I want to just quickly say something.
Yes.
You see, the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia are the beacons of Islam, if you can call it that. And you can describe them that way. But do you realize that UAE, I think as of 2020, they had made an incursion into Mars. They didn't do that by having unnecessary and unplanned educational breaks. As much as Saudi and the UAE are beacons of Islam, they understand and prioritize education. So what have they done? 2025, what they have done is to shorten their school days. You understand what I'm saying? They've said, okay, instead of closing by, for example, 4 o'clock, we close by 2 or we close by 12. Shorten the school day.
Instead of total shutdown.
Instead of a total shutdown. What are they doing? The children are covering the core content of their curriculum and therefore would not suffer. I dare say for these 4 states, I hope the governors somehow are listening. Listen, WAEC, NECO, all the external examination bodies, UTME, they're not going to wait. They're not going to wait for your learners to catch up. You have to find a way for those learners to catch up on what they have missed before their exams, and that is a tall order. So this kind of decision, it's extremely important, and I'm glad that WNTV is doing this. It's important that it gets wide coverage so that the governors can have information and make proper decisions. This decision is really, really poor. Like I've said, go and look at what the United Arab Emirates are doing right now. Go and look at what Saudi Arabia has done concerning this period and follow suit.
Yeah, but Chief Dr. Adiani reached a point to say maybe the reason might be that because of the way they go about their fasting there. Now, when you have pupils or students, primary or secondary, in which they are used to a certain way of fasting, whenever anything, by the time the sun is up, nobody should really do anything again. The way most of them do that. Now, when you have students who want to sleep, or pupils who want to sleep, who feels I should not be stressed because I'm fasting, all of those things, and you still want to go on, teaching such students, where is the game? What can they learn? So how do we go about that? Maybe that's a reason.
Okay. Yes, I that's why I said
he wants to sleep. He wants to eat. He's edgy. He doesn't want to hear anything.
Even without,
and you are keeping him in
fasting,
class and you are teaching him.
Certain levels of education, even without fasting, there are children that fall asleep in the class. You make provision for learning. Okay? So for such a season as this, where the student may be weary, may be tired, please include enough breaks. If you were having 30 minutes before, you can, or two periods, two breaks of 30 minutes. Add more, add maybe 15 minutes extra. I want you to rest. A good teacher has been trained to understand that children need what we call stimulus variation. Okay? When you change the orientation of how you are teaching, to give them a refreshing or a period of refreshing. So you do that, you incorporate that into your periods so that the children are not stressed. The essence of learning is changed behavior. And if they're not listening, if they're not, then there's a problem. So you must create or fashion a structure that provides for exhaustion, that provides for the fact that the children are weary, and so on. But I want to say this also, fasting is a discipline. Okay? Fasting you shouldn't say because you are fasting, the entire world should come to a standstill. No, I don't believe that is the tenet that Islam proposes. It is that, just like I said, you should be able to live your normal life and fast without anybody knowing you are fasting. It's between you and your God. It's vertical, So it's a discipline. You are teaching learners, look, yes, you're going to school, but we want you to also have this spiritual observance and have the benefits of this spiritual observance. But your learning too is very important. So you must, balance it out. This is what I noticed.
Very, very well. Dr. Bien, now, the state has made their decision on this. It's being operationalized already. Some of them have started since 1st of March. Now, when they come back, we talked about backup plan. Where do they pick it from? Many of them will be, I think the UTME is not far away. The O-level exams are not far away. So you have been home for like 30 days and then you come back and then in a couple of weeks, you are getting ready for your O-level exams, for the UTME exams. Who gains? Who loses? No.
Yes, I want to buttress what one of the countries that the issue of provision, like he was saying, in Saudi Arabia, most of them are American product, they are leaders. So they understand the importance of education better than anyone in the world. So they cannot just allow their children to be wandering away like we are doing in Nigeria.
Why?
Because they understand the importance
when we go for Hajj, and they are not shutting down.
They can't shut. In fact, including their workers, the office workers, they reduce their time, the time that they spend in offices. So maybe like Madam rightly said, they reduce it drastically so that you come. It's just like during the COVID. We know how we do it.
Yeah.
We find a way that people work from home. So if at all you want to do this, do you have provision? I come back to the provision now.
Yeah.
You must have the provision. You can't just say, like we are saying, religion one side, politics one side. I don't want them to politicize education the way they politicize Sharia. So let's look at how we can better these children. Number one, You can even say that, oh, there's iftar for you if you come to school. We have provided iftar. You will take it home. That's what we use in the night and in the evening when you want to break your fast. When we are so young, my father will say, if you fast today, we get a milk, a tin of milk. And he encouraged us to fast. We go to school, we fast. You know that when you come, you will take your milk. So if the government there want to be so sincere and be truthful, they can find a way to even encourage these students to come to school even at larger number during the month of Ramadan. Like we have wholemeal in Osun. In fact, Aregbe came and he used that wholemeal to put more students in the public school. So that's a good policy. So we're expecting the government over there, like you rightly said, to please look deeply into what they are doing. Because if you leave all these children uneducated, they will come back stronger tomorrow for more even intense Boko Haram, these things. So let's think of their tomorrow. You have your own children going to school. Most of the political leaders, that's the truth of the matter. Some of them, their children are not in Nigeria. They are abroad schooling.
Exactly my point.
And you
and where they are not shutting down.
They are not shutting down. And here, it's just like, I'm sorry, to use another illustration. Our brothers, the Easterners, they are clamoring that, oh, the sit at home should continue. And they are Talaba, selling their market every Monday. They are Ladipo, selling their market every Monday. But those who are in the East that don't have much to leverage upon, they are now putting more terror on them that they should not come out on Monday. The same thing for these, most of the political.
Although some of them don't agree with it. Maybe the vocal ones are the ones.
Are the one talking. No, social media thing. So what we are saying is that most of the leaders there, unless you put your children in the same public school, you should think otherwise. Because if you use the state money to raise your children, these guys that you are denying today, they may likely take them off. So that should be a lesson.
Now, are you saying that whatever has informed this decision is coming from a place of they not really caring, or they are just trying to make themselves like the good ones? I'm talking about the proponents of this proposal, the government and the handlers and all of these things, because you raised a very valid point to say, if the awards or children are part of the system, will they shut it down? Now, that they have their children in UK, in US, in the same Saudi Arabia, in UAE, in Turkey, and none of these nations are shutting down because of fast. And in fact, to talk about the Saudi Arabia, that is where people go for Hajj. And in fact, even during Hajj, as a way to go about their business. Are you saying this decision is being informed by the leaders because their children, their words, their family members are not affected from a place of insincerity? Do you think that's what has happened?
The duty is not only to the Muslim or the Islamic issue. It's Nigeria is a general issue. The point here is that over there in Saudi Arabia, you can't find any classroom without air conditioning. Every provision is there. Everything is just like home from home. So we have not provided enough classroom. The classroom that will be looking at the sky. So they know the children too are not encouraged. We are telling our leaders, not only in the northern side, all our leaders to please, let's provide for tomorrow of Nigeria. Because like we are saying, you can't just be having, if we have good hospitals and the governor can board of going to that hospital, definitely we knows the lacks in that hospital. The same thing goes to school. Most of the teachers in public school cannot put their children in private school. Not talking of the whole state shut down. And that takes me to another, level. Why would the private school not have their own discretion of running their own public institution? It's a private thing. So if the government says we are shutting down our own, you should have allowed the public school that have the provision to continue the educational system. The private schools to continue the educational system. So, but all states now have come to this unitary mentality of saying, if the government says our schools is not open today, every private school soon should shut down.
Mm.
This is not what is operational in the past. They just brought that in, and every state has bought it. And this is wrong, because it is the private that, I mean, encourage the public to do better. So, but these days, they've reduced everything to the same level.
All right. Let me come back to that. Now, since this decision, you have said is not entirely new, but now that maybe because we're having 1, 2, 3, 4 states as of now, going about this to say, well, let's have a break during the Ramadan. We'll come back after, and then we'll round off the term. The reaction to that, and I think maybe there is this subconscious mentality in people's minds that if there is an issue of public importance, people look at it through the lenses of religion and try. And these are two sensitive things in Nigeria. When you want to burn up a place, just go through it. Sheikh said it the other time. Is this a religious, religion propelled decision, because it's coming from the north, or is just leaders are not having the proper foresight?
It's a combination of both. Definitely, I think it's important that data and information is made available or made visible to our leaders. Sometimes they don't see what they should see.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Because if they don't see it, they won't have their children, picked off the system, thrown into another system because they think it's better. Is it because they don't know?
When I say they don't see, this is what I mean. They don't see the advantages of planning for the general populace and not only their own myopic, selfish interests. Now, if you go to Dubai, you're like, wow. They didn't do that by making those decisions that we are making here. They prioritized education. They invested in education. They invested in quality brains to teach their own children. They would import teachers from even our own country to their country to ensure that they get the best. Those are investments. But why are they doing that? It's because they sat down and decided, okay, this is our dream for Dubai. We want Dubai to become, a hub for tourism, a world power, whatever you can call it, and they sat down at a stakeholder engagement meeting and said, this is what we want for our people, and the fact is that when we call our own governors together, we need to they need to be accountable to us. We voted them in. What are you doing for our own people? These are the statistics. Up on the scale of performance for WAEC 2024, where's Kebbi? Where's Bauchi? Where is Kano? And then we look at it and we say, have we improved? Ever since we've started this closing down, having unplanned holidays, have we risen up the ranks of performance? And when we now tell these leaders, this is what we want for ourselves as people, you must, help us to achieve our aims and goals and as a people. So I believe it is important that data is put forward. Many of the people in positions of authority do not have adequate data, and it's not their fault. Where is the data provision? I struggled to find the ranking of the ranking for states for WAEC online before I came for this program. I struggled. I still didn't find a good enough source. That should be everywhere, so that those learners are put on their toes. There was a time when Oshun was at the bottom of the... What happened? Everybody started shouting in Oshun, no, we're not agreeing. No. And then there was awareness. And then people began to say, what can we do? They began to think the same thing should be done for those governments in the north. They should come together and do better for their people. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah. Right. So, Doctor, you talked about provisions. We'll still go back there. Maybe I'm making a policy, and there appears to be the fact that there will be lagging. How do you make provisions to cover it up? And if I saw that there won't be a lagging, you made mention of provisions in countries of the world, like Saudi Arabia, to say almost everywhere is air conditioned. The Middle East is normally hot. It's a Gulf, area, and to the best of technology, they make provisions to make everybody comfortable, at least as to what is obtainable. Now, our governments, our leaders from north to south, south to north, that sometimes they just roll out policies. Maybe that might suit to those ones in the villages, Those ones that, they can't really separate their life from their left, this decision might be something okay for them. And in fact, the fact that they are having it, it means some persons are enjoying it. They feel, oh, this is what it should be. But for an informed mind, like yourself, like ourselves, like the people watching us, they know that there is an issue. This thing should not be like this. What can the people do in all of this to know that, yes, you are disrupting this education? In normal times, it should be like 3 months. One of these 3 months has been spent at home. Now, you come back by 6th of April, thereabouts, you take another break. In the next 2 weeks, you go on another break, and then you come back for a new session. Obviously, the people are losing, but it appears they don't know. What can the people do?
Yes, there are two things involved. We are talking of provision and at the same time syllabus. If the northern part are doing well, like Madam rightly said, we can spot them on the top of the table. We'll not be talking, because it means that the system is working for them.
Right.
So that is during the Ramadan, they can even go for 40 days because they have the plan in place. But when you don't have the results, you continue questioning that policy. So in Islam, there's another thing, because everything has tradition.
Right.
When it comes to Ramadan, every madrasa shut down. Every madrasa means the school teaching Islamic and Arabic. They shut down for the Ramadan. I think that's the tradition that they are trying to introduce into the Western.
Why?
Let me put it this way. If that syllabus is being covered adequately and appropriately, and they feel that this is the best for our children, because by the time you have them 4 weeks in the school, they will be losing concentration. Okay, go. It's just like in the early child. Many times you just discover that the children are dozing off this and that. Say, okay, let's go out on that tree and to start singing with them. By the time you bring them in, they have recharged. So if that's why I agree with the madam that in such a cases like this, we need to engage. There's need for engagement. So that during that engagement, in fact, they can see more than what we are saying through our engagement with them. So I think those are the areas. And in Dubai, we are talking about, they are using Arabic to teach. In many Arabian countries, they are using Arabic to teach. We have Iqtisodiyya, we have Siyasiyya, we have Fisiyya. All this is being taught in Arabic, not English words. They are Arabic words. So if the northern want to use that, they should streamline it and let it work for their people, so that their areas will be developed. Because they need engineers, they need doctors in the future. So they should start to.
Thank you very much. But I understand we have to go. But reasonable right now. This is where we are. For this term, it is continuing. It has always been done in some class. Most likely, nothing is on it. Will continue. But let's look at education generally. There is the intervention, development made possible by technology and all of those things. The COVID came with these wahala, and they used that word. The challenge, and then you have the learning from home, learning on WhatsApp, learning on e-platforms, and all of those things. That was in 2020. Now this is 2025. Educational-wise, especially those in basic education, nursery, primary, and secondary, where would you say we are in this
We have a long way to go. A very long way.
Even with the intervention of technology and all of those things?
Yes, we do. There's a lot to do. First of all, the issue of power is a problem. Steady power. Because technology is going to be run on certain power supply. So that is an issue. But the fact is that we have not really developed our online platforms. We have not really learned enough lessons from the COVID season to develop those online platforms, to make them robust enough to be able to use in case of an unplanned event. So we need to go back and do more to make sure that such platforms work.
Working. Thank you very much, Mrs. Onyekomi, Government Education. Thank you for your time and faith. And Sheikh Dr. Yemi Afsanusi, Executive Secretary of East Islamic Development Initiatives. Thank you for your time and your take as well. And this is where we take our break for today. It's about education. and is a bedrock of development. A nation can only improve on the level and the priority it places on its education. Thank you for joining us today. If it's about education consulting, especially about the workings, that has to do with the public good of this great nation and the good people that we have. Thank you for joining.
All right, such a very robust conversation there about, education, the bedrock of any development in any society. And the decision of these states can be Kano, Casino and Bauchi to go on these breaks. It's one that many persons are frowning at, not just because of the reason, which is about the Ramadan and Islamic tenant, but how can these students and pupils who are at home now benefit? How can they cover up for what they will be losing, and which the rest of the country, the rest of the world are not stopping? Everybody is moving ahead. We just have to find a balance and do what is right, and so that we can rub shoulders as well with the rest of the nations of the world. That will be it for this morning. Femi Ojo is my name. You can have a recap of this program on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Again, I say, let us do what is right. And in everything that you do, please stay alive. God bless Nigeria.